Hey everyone, Doug here with B&H. There has been a lot of anticipation surrounding the release of RED's new digital cinema camera, the Komodo 6K, and for good reason. It marks a first for many features never seen in a RED cinema camera before. The Komodo is the smallest camera RED has ever produced, and it comes ready to shoot out of the box. The camera features a built-in LCD screen and easily accessible power and media options. So if you're thinking about getting into the RED cinema world, the Komodo is a great place to get started. Originally designed as a crash cam, the Komodo has grown beyond that, appealing to filmmakers of all production levels. As a camera designed to be rigged and mounted, it features a global shutter to assist with fast-paced subjects and action. But users had expressed interest in using the Komodo as a B or C camera to a larger RED camera, and in some cases, as their A camera. For this video, we're using a pre-production white Stormtrooper model that's only running beta version 1.1.0, so some features won't be available for us to test out, but we'll still make mention of them. The menus in this camera may also not be accurate to the final production models as well. The Komodo measures 4 by 4 by 4 inches on each side and weighs only 2.1 pounds. Now that size can be attributed to its extremely narrow and compact lens mount utilizing the Canon RF design. This greatly reduces the flange distance from the back of the lens to the sensor and allows for a wide range of adapters and lens choices. Actually, the camera ships with a Canon RF to EF mechanical lens mount adapter, so you can immediately adapt Canon EF glass to the Komodo RF right out of the box and take advantage of the electronic functions. As of right now, electronic lens features are only available with adapted EF glass. RF lenses will gain electronic control in the near future. Now inside is a 19.9 megapixel Super35 CMOS sensor that utilizes a global shutter and even has a phase detection autofocus system. The sensor has an optical low-pass filter to help counter moire. Measuring 6,144 pixels across by 3,240 pixels tall, the Komodo sensor boasts a dynamic range of 16 plus stops. With electronic connection to EF lenses, as I mentioned before, the Komodo will support phase detection autofocus with compatible lenses. Now, this is a huge feature that has not been available in other RED cameras up to this point. As you can imagine, having the speed and accuracy of a phase detect system will open up a whole new avenue of use cases and a level of convenience not previously available to RED users. Kind of a perfect match given the form factor. Additionally, the touchscreen can be used to quickly change focus points between different subjects. This feature isn't currently available in our firmware to test out, but it has already been activated in newer firmware builds. With a global shutter, the Komodo has definitely been optimized to capture motion without the typical side effects of a rolling shutter, such as the jello effect when straight lines appear to be bent. This makes sense considering it started as a crash cam. It also eliminates the flash bulb issue when a flash only shows up as a white bar across a fraction of the image. When choosing your file settings, you have two formats at your disposal: R3D, which is the proprietary REDCODE RAW codec, and Apple ProRes. While shooting in R3D, you can get the same 16-bit compressed RED RAW as the rest of the RED lineup. This RAW codec is known for its extreme flexibility in post-production and can be manipulated in countless ways, whether that be through the Master Effects panel in Adobe Premiere, full color grading in DaVinci Resolve, or more of a development approach in Red Cine X. If you switch the camera over to ProRes, you have two recording options: ProRes 422 and the higher quality 422 HQ. Shooting in these ProRes modes will give you a more compressed image than RAW and a little less flexibility in post, but you'll be able to shoot for much longer periods of time on your cards. Within these modes, you can shoot a variety of resolutions. In RAW mode, you can shoot 2K up to 120 FPS, 4K up to 60 FPS, 5K up to 48 FPS, and 6K up to 40 FPS. There's also an additional 2.40:1 ratio option available in 6K. Now in ProRes, you can shoot 2K up to 120 FPS and 4K up to 60 FPS. If you're familiar with RED cameras, then the RAW compression options inside the Komodo should be a welcome retooling. Instead of direct compression ratios, the Komodo has three simplified choices: HQ, MQ, and LQ. Each mode has its own data rates to make it much easier to choose just how compressed the RAW files will be. HQ, of course, should be used when you want the highest quality image possible. ideal for heavy post-production work or visual effects on your footage. It shouldn't be a surprise, but this does create the largest files on the camera, so you'll need a lot of storage space. MQ is for the most common uses, and LQ should be used for when the camera will be recording for a very long period of time, such as a concert or a long format event. Also built into the camera are 4 creative 3D LUT options to add unique looks to your footage. And because you're shooting in RAW, these looks can be turned on and off with one click in your NLE. These looks include film bias bleach bypass, film bias offset, and achromic. The Komodo features a host of exposure tools as well, including a new display design for the exposure traffic lights, as they're called. This exposure tool gives you a readout for when individual color channels, red, green, and blue, are either clipped or too dark. When a part of the frame has an overexposed area in it, the corresponding traffic light will illuminate to let you know. Same goes if there's an area that's too dark in the frame. Paired with the histogram, it makes exposing an image a lot easier. The Komodo features a host of other exposure tools as well, such as peaking, zebras, and false colors. On top of the camera is a fixed 2.9-inch 1440 by 1440 pixel touch LCD screen. This marks another first for RED, as historically, a monitor had to be attached to the camera. But with the addition of a top LCD screen, the camera can be operated entirely without the addition of an external monitor. For our demos, we used a combination of the top LCD and an external monitor when we needed a bigger view of what we were shooting. There are 5 buttons next to the top LCD screen for accessing the menu, making selections, and switching the camera into playback mode. Keeping in line with updates unique to the Komodo is RED's choice for recording media. Now, instead of RED mags, the Komodo utilizes CFast 2.0 technology in a single card slot. This rethinking of media for a camera this size allows for easier access to media if a card goes down, and is of course a more affordable option to get started. The card slides into the side of the camera and is covered by a secured door. The door can even be removed while the camera is recording if need be. On the same side of the camera, you'll also find 3.5mm inputs for a microphone and headphones. There's also a built-in stereo microphone on the side of the camera. Another departure for RED here is the Komodo's power. To keep the size small and the cost down, RED has incorporated another feature from Canon. The camera has 2 slots on the back for Canon BP900 series batteries, and the camera was designed with these batteries in mind for a reason. The BP900 series can communicate with the camera to provide more detailed information about the remaining life on the batteries. Dual BP955 batteries, for example, will power the camera for about 3 hours, while dual BP975s will give you 5 hours of runtime. The camera can be powered on while only one battery is mounted, which allows for hot swapping of batteries. So you can keep the camera powered on for an extremely long period of time while running on just batteries. Additionally, the batteries can also be charged while on the camera when the AC power is attached to the camera. For increased battery power, you can attach a third-party mount to the back of the camera to support V-mount and gold mount batteries like the Anton Bauer bricks we're using with the camera here. These provide much longer life, but the trade-off, of course, is that they'll be a little bigger and a little heavier. Also on the back of the camera, you'll find 3 additional connectors: a 12G SDI BNC monitor and recorder output, a DC in power connector, and a 9-pin GPI for Genlock, RS-232, and timecode. On the right side of the camera is the antenna for wireless support, including 2.4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi video output. This also allows for full camera control through RED's iOS and Android apps. There is also a dedicated record button on the side of the camera along with an on-off switch. On the bottom of the camera you'll find 2 mounting points, a 1/4 20-inch and a 3/8 16-inch. If you're looking to expand the functionality of your Komodo, you're in luck. There will be an expander module sold separately that features additional connectivity for timecode in, Genlock, GPI, and a 4-pin control interface. Now, because of the camera's size, weight, and simplicity in design, there are already many third-party accessories being released for the camera that can add some amazing ergonomics and functionality to it. We added a top handle by Wooden Camera to make the Komodo easier to walk around with. Additional accessories will include side handles, cages, and more. So, what fun and exciting projects have you been waiting to shoot with the Komodo? Let us know in the comments below. I'm Doug with B&H, and I'll see you next time.